round 13 of the Formula 1 season sees the teams head to Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix. First of all, all the Ferrari staff that were not involved in the contract scandal have been given compensation. Now obviously, as we found out previously in the previous episode, we had found out that Ferrari had gone through a contract scandal involving Max Verstappen being a primary #1 driver, and if anyone beat Verstappen, they would be sacked from the team. Now, obviously, there were not all Ferrari personnel and staff members there that were actually involved in this. So they've gone ahead and given those that weren't involved in it and didn't want to get involved in this personal compensation after they were obviously dropped pay as well during this time if they didn't obey the orders given by the top members of the staff. Secondly, Ferrari are already in the driver market and are already getting on with it. Ferrari have signed Nico Hulkenberg from Renault on a 2-year deal starting next year. Nico Hulkenberg has been in Formula 1 for quite some time, but he's just never got that drive that he so thoroughly deserves in a top-tier team, and now he's got that opportunity. Hulkenberg has been upset with Renault after their poor performance this season and wanted to change, and Ferrari, obviously opening the window with 2 seats, have gone ahead and offered Nico Hulkenberg the contract that he has so desperately wanted. Nico Hulkenberg said he will continue to fight with Renault for the rest of the season, however he is absolutely delighted with this opportunity to finally get his chance to show what he can do in a top-tier team. Next up, Lamborghini and Toyota are the 2 manufacturers that are set to battle to compete for the Force India takeover. Force India announced a while ago that they would be selling their team on, and so any manufacturer could form a takeover. However, they did state obviously that they were not going to go into anything about it until obviously we actually got to a period where it was necessary. Now obviously Lamborghini and Force India seem to be battling for that, and looks like they're going to get it. Finally, Sebastian Vettel has signed a new 1-year deal with the Audi team. He joined this season after being sacked by Ferrari, and he has decided to stay at Ferrari for another year. However, Nico Rosberg will be leaving the team at the end of the season. Now obviously, as we know, Rosberg has got finances within the Audi team itself and actually owns a part of it for the Formula 1 aspect of Audi. However, he's gone ahead and sold that part off that he did now own, as he doesn't want to have any more functions within Audi. He is obviously very, very disappointed that he's going to be leaving Audi. He just doesn't quite feel that the plans that Audi are taking are going to necessarily suit the way that he wanted to run the team, and he's decided to move on, which is completely fine. Where he will go, we're unaware of that at this time. Then moving on into the practice pointers for the Japanese Grand Prix. Mercedes and Red Bull seem to be suffering with major balance issues at Japan. They just can't quite get the balance set up right, with mixtures of understeer and oversteer costing them heavily around this track, with Ferrari looking like clear favourites. Nico Rosberg's lap times on the medium tyres are looking extremely fast and competitive, and it looks like Rosberg could be set for one of his best weekends yet if he can get it all together. Next up then, obviously the race is going to set to split strategies within the teams, with all of them having headaches, as they do not know if this will be a 1-stop or a 2-stop race. They are both looking close, and it's all about who can get the strategies right. Without further ado, let's get into the Japanese Grand Prix. Hey, what's going on guys, it is Fox298 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we are back with the F1 Journey Part 13 here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and a couple of things to address then that I picked up on from the last video. Now in the last video obviously I concluded the Ferrari storyline, and we went ahead and actually clinched the World Championship after obviously Ferrari's form dip during the mid-season. However, overall, having a look at the like to dislike ratio between that video, comparing it to every single F1 Journey video, it was actually one of the worst it's ever been. So obviously I was pretty frustrated about that. However, my biggest concern was the fact that throughout that entire video there was no comments in the comment section down below, which told me why a lot more people didn't like it compared to the last time. So I went ahead and set up a community page, which is obviously on YouTube. You know, you can post on the community page, and from there I went ahead and set up a post, and it appeared to see that most people were unhappy with the AI difficulty. Therefore I obviously gone ahead and turned it up, and for next season I will not be driving in a top tier team. That is a given. But for all my videos, no matter what they are, if you have something that you're not happy with in the video, please put it in the comment section down below. Otherwise, as a creator, I don't have any feedback, so I don't know where to go from there. So I always want to improve. But as we head into qualifying here, our banker lap was actually really, really poor. And then on our main lap here, we were actually doing a decent job. We were about 1.2, maybe 1.1 seconds quicker. But as we got to the start-finish line, I actually ran out of fuel. So I slowed down and I lost loads of time coming towards the start-finish line. But overall, We are 1.7 seconds slower than both the Ferraris today. Our qualifying pace was just nowhere. We just didn't have the grip and the power in the first sector to compete. In the middle sector, we were so-so, maybe even further down the order. And then in the final sector, we were decent. But anyway, we are out of position for the Japanese Grand Prix, and we've got work to do if we want to try and be competitive. So as you can see then, heading into the race itself, we're going to be doing the one-stop strategy. We're going to start on the medium tyres, and then we're going to go on to a set of the soft tyres. And then for my secondary stint, if things go wrong, if I have to pit on the first lap, I'll go on to a set of soft tyres and do 2 soft stints and go to the end. But we have got 5 red lights here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's lights out where we go here to start the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a good start from both Ferrari cars. They're going very nicely there in towards turn 1. You can see one of the Ferraris, I think that's Verstappen, leads the way as they go in towards the first corner now, and there's a bit of carnage behind us there as one of the, they're going 4 wide there, 2 Renaults, one of the Force Indias, and also one of the Williams cars that are going a little bit crazy there as we head in towards this S section. We have not actually had a good start here, and you can see the 2 Ferraris lead the way from one of the Red Bulls, and then Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, but you can see here that we're on the outside of Pascal Wehrlein, and we tried to secure it here, but we just get out of shape on the second part of that S section there, and Wehrlein swoops around the outside there, so we've actually lost the position off the start, and heading into the first deck of the corner now. I had a little look there, but it wasn't the wisest of moves, and overall, a scruffy start for us. So now, we have got plenty of work to do as we've got more positions to try and gain back. So we go in towards the hairpin here. We actually go down the inside of Pascal Wehrlein, and also we're going to make a move down the inside of here on Nico Rosberg. But Rosberg fights this one back quite heavily here as we now go forward towards the high-speed section out of the circuit here, side by side with Nico Rosberg as we go in towards Spoon Corner now. And as you can see, going down the inside here of Nico, we actually get the move done there and shove him a little bit wide for good measure. And we're up into 12th place now. So we have made a position on the start of this race, but obviously we could have done a little bit better there, so we need to try and improve as we put the car into rich mix and try and crack on with it. On to lap 2 of the Grand Prix now. We're catching up to Stoffel Van Dorn in the McLaren, and we're going to try and get past him as quick as we possibly can. We need to make positions early on in this Grand Prix. We're going to do just that here as we dive it down the inside of Stoffel into the hairpin, caught unaware there that we are making that manoeuvre, and we're up into 11th place now. Sebastian Vettel is next in 10th. However, he is on the super soft tyres, and that Audi car is not exactly a pushover either. So overall, we're going to have some problems. On to lap 7 of the Grand Prix, though, you can see it's actually been a very quiet race. Vettel's actually gotten away from me now. He's 3.5 seconds up the roads, and I'm cleared Van Dorn. And for this entire first stint, I didn't really have any pace. It must be said, Vettel was clearly much quicker, got away from me, but I was quicker than all those behind. So theoretically, not a bad first stint though, because we were slower than all of the super soft runners in front of us, but we were quicker than all the medium compound runners behind us. So we were sort of in a little bit of a weird bubble, but we're up into 2nd place now as all the drivers have come in and made their first pit stops. One of those men that's made their first pit stops is Max Verstappen. He's on a fresh set of the super soft tyres, and he's stuck, in fact, behind the train that I actually got away from, which is Van Dorn, Rosberg, and then I believe it's one of the Force Indians of Pascal Wehrlein. So Verstappen now going down the inside of 130R, in towards the chicane now. He's going to go around the outside here. Nico Rosberg is going to have better traction, just better pace overall. He's in the Ferrari, of course, and that is the fastest car on the grid. And he gets past him nicely. Next up for Max Verstappen is Stoffel Van Dorn in the McLaren, and he goes towards the inside line now for 130R, and this should be a move that he'll either secure into 130R or into the chicane itself, and they go through 130R. Van Dorn sticks it around the outside though, and in towards the chicane now. Van Dorn breaks just a little bit later than Verstappen, and this time around Max actually locks up in towards the chicane, and he makes a mistake, and Verstappen costing crucial time here, because in fact the person that's next for Verstappen after Stoffel Van Dorn is me. And the longer that he stays behind Van Dorn, the easier his tyres are going to wear out, the less time he's going to have to close me down, and then of course he's going to have the problem of trying to overtake me come the pit stop area. So let's see what he can do now as he comes up to the back of Stoffel Van Dorn once again in towards 130R. This time he should be able to make it through. He does so, but still Van Dorn still sticking it in there. So Stoffel really not giving this one up without a fight here, but once again, just with a bit of traction there off the exit, Verstappen gets through, and he is up now into 2nd place in this Grand Prix. Stoffel Van Dorn now drops to 3rd, but he has obviously got Rosberg and Pascal Wehrlein right behind him. So Stoffel is doing a great job though on the medium tyres. And speaking of the medium tyres, on to lap 15 of the Grand Prix now. It's my time for a pit stop now. So we're coming in for a set of the soft tyres we're going to be coming in for. And overall, it's been a very, very good first stint. Nice and long, staying out of the traffic. That's crucial. And we're in the lead of the race. So technically, you know, if we pit now, and we do, and we're on soft tyres, everyone else who are the front runners still need to make a pit stop. So we're actually in a very, very strong position in this Japanese Grand Prix. We may not have the outright pace, but we sure as hell do have the better strategical option starting on these medium tyres. And now we're on a fresh set of soft tyres, we can crack on with it. So let's get on now with the race, and we're on a nice fresh set of soft tyres, and of course these are going to be better than the mediums. I didn't really like the medium tyres that much. They did cause horrible understeer in the car when I was driving with them, but I was sort of just like dealing with it in a way. And you can see coming through this S section just how much grip I already had on these soft tyres, proving to me that I'm in a very happy place. On to lap 16 of the Grand Prix now, we're continuing onwards, but in the top right hand corner of your screens, that's Max Verstappen, and funnily enough, all of the front runners still have to make a second pit stop, so in theory, we might actually just be leading this Japanese Grand Prix. But Verstappen comes out of the pits now, you can see him there, and he's had a great pit stop actually. So we're coming now on the start-finish straight. The rest of the drivers that are in front of us are starting to pit as well. So overall, this is going to be very close now coming out of the pit stop. Verstappen on a set of soft tyres, but we managed to get past Max Verstappen there in the pit stops, and we're up into third place now. Hamilton is in second ahead or behind one of the other drivers. I'm not quite sure who that is, and he is still behind them on to lap 17. I can't really focus on who's in front of Hamilton and whether Hamilton has to stop again. However, the one thing that I do know is I don't have to stop again, neither does Verstappen. So really, we're fighting Max in this Grand Prix. Did I be thinking I'd be fighting Max in this race? No, I had no idea we'd be fighting Verstappen in this Grand Prix, to be honest. But as we come towards 130R, he didn't quite get close enough for a run at us through there. But now, as we get in towards the exit of the chicane, getting through the exit now, Verstappen is in a great position here to attack us as we come on the exit here. Verstappen with the DRS on the straight. We're actually going to go immediately defensive towards the inside line for the first corner. Verstappen will have to try and make this stick around the outside as we go in towards turn 1 now. We cover off Verstappen, so very nicely done there. Not going to get past by Max through there as he gets very close through the S section now, and this is a time now, and as you can see, it's Hamilton that leads the way in this Grand Prix. So I'm not quite sure if he's got to stop again. He might have to, as we get a little bit too much curve there through the spoon curve, and that's going to give Verstappen a good opportunity now to come for an attack on us here as he goes towards the inside line. I think he'll do for 130R. He does do just that. This is going to be side by side through 130R, swoop through 130R now, around the outside, and Verstappen gives us a little bit of a budge there on the exit 130R, trying to basically say, get out of the way, but we've gone too deep in towards the chicane, make a mistake here, Verstappen gets through on the exit of the chicane there, a little mistake for myself, really cost me quite heavily there, but as you can see now, on board myself, up into the rich fuel mixer. Verstappen now has to look behind because here I am, and I'm closing up with my Mercedes car, and in towards the first corner now, brake a little bit later, and sort of give Verstappen a little bit of a shove there, around the inside now, in towards turn 1, and we're back up into the lead of the race. A bit of connection there between the cars as we look on board with Verstappen there, and finally we are through back in front of Max Verstappen. But that was a very close call. If we managed to stay if we locked up or went deep, a little bit further there, Verstappen may not have been in range for us to attack, and we might have just lost that fight for the lead. But the fight for the lead still continues now. It's on to lap 20 of the Grand Prix. Here comes Verstappen yet again, trying to fight for us as he goes towards the outside line this time in towards turn 1, but it doesn't actually equate well for him as he actually brakes earlier into the first corner there. So for him, he's not going to be anywhere, and you can see now onto lap 21, and it's basically a fight between me and Verstappen, and it's actually Nico Rosberg that's in third place at the moment, so he's doing a brilliant job so far, and also so is myself as we now try and defend from Verstappen as we go into lap 22 now. Verstappen goes to the inside line this time for the first corner, and I've noticed my problem here, so I will let Verstappen do just that, switch back through turn 1 there, swooping it into 2. Lovely bit of move in there. I knew Verstappen would brake into turn 1 and sort of turn and take my line slightly, so I wasn't going to let that happen. I was going to try and let him run wide on the exit of turn 1, and we do just that on lap 22, and we stay in front of Verstappen for the time being. But this battle will just not end, and we've still got 6 laps to go as Vettel sets the fastest lap of 132 flat, whereas my best is a 132.7, way off the pace as we go for the exit here of Degner 2, losing the back end though ever so slightly. Verstappen sees that as an opportunity, pressurising me now as we go in towards the hairpin. We stay in front of Verstappen, but we go down the inside, but once again, look, Verstappen is piling on heavy pressure onto myself now. This has been from lap 17 onwards. We've been going for a long time in this fight, and he's already just piling on that pressure, and if he keeps doing that, he is going to force me into an error, and he did just then, and he snuck in for an opportunity, so I need to be careful now once making my moves. I can't afford to give any more mistakes in, because Verstappen will pounce, and we've seen that when I went deep into the corner and also deep into Degner 2. I missed my braking points as we go a little bit wide on the exit of the Spoon corner there, and this time, this could be a good chance for Verstappen as he goes towards 130R. He's going to have a great opportunity now as we go in towards the corner itself. Swoop towards the outside line here, make sure we stay on track. We do just have that as a very clean defensive maneuver into 130R. No mistakes at all, but until we say that, we make a mistake on the corner itself, the chicane yet again, and Verstappen comes through once again, and he's up into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix, but not quite yet, because we're in rich mixture, and we're going to try and do the same thing as we did last time, and get back in front of Verstappen. We're closing with this slipstream. We're going to sit back a little bit, and then wait till that open opportunity comes, and dive it down the inside of Verstappen. He stays there, though, towards the S section, but we're back in front of Max Verstappen, and as soon as he took the inside into the first part of the corner, he didn't cover the inside for the second part of the corner, and gave us the position there. So once again, we are being forced into many mistakes in this race, and we can't afford to now. And again, another mistake on the exit of the Spoon corner, and Verstappen now is once again just piling on so much pressure for me right now. It's really hard to cope with this fast Ferrari right up my backside, especially in an underdog Mercedes. This Merc is nowhere near quicker than this Ferrari right now. I am just defending for everything I have got right now. If Verstappen gets past me, he will fly off into the distance, over a second maybe per lap. Verstappen will be quicker right now. This is how heavy I am defending right now. This is not just me, you know, dominating Grand Prix. This is me having to really work for it right now. Again, he tries it, runs wide into turn 1. Verstappen giving it all he can to try and get in front here on lap 25. Just 3 to go now as we go very close into these final stages of the race now, in towards Spoon curve. This time taking a little less curve there, making sure we run nice and clean on the exit. And now this is a good run for us, but Verstappen also with a fantastic run himself, and up towards 130R. He will go for the inside line here in towards 130R, and he does that. We swoop around the outside and we bang wheels a little bit there. I was a little bit wired for myself actually, but luckily managed to stay within a good reason in terms of not smashing Verstappen off, but we did run a tad wide there on the exit of 130R. And now as we go on to lap 26 here, 3/10 is the gap between myself and Max, as we now have slipstream and DRS, but it isn't enough. And on to lap 27 of the Grand Prix now. This is Max Verstappen's final chance to get the win. And obviously, if I make another mistake in that chicane, I won't have a chance to overtake Verstappen once again. But as you can see here, on this final lap, we seem to actually be doing a decent job of staying in front of the Ferrari drivers. Through 130R we go. We've got someone that's got a problem. It's Giovinazzi there with a puncture. But as we go in towards the chicane, from P13 on the grid, we were very quiet in the first stint, but it all opened up for us. The one-stop strategy was the best strategy to go in this Japanese Grand Prix. That is a very hard-fought victory at the Japanese Grand Prix. No dominance, no nothing. We worked for that win, and we had to fight for it. And you can see the one-stop really worked better than the two-stop. We managed to beat Verstappen on the one-stop. Rosberg qualified down in 12th. Remember, Rosberg was alongside me. He was 12th, I was 13th. I finished first, he finished third. The one-stop was the best way to go, and that's how it went, apart from Perez on a 4-stop, which is weird. But let's have a look at the drivers and constructors standings, as Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz were the two that DNF. Alright, so as we have a look at the Drivers' Championship, then after the Japanese Grand Prix, so obviously we are the world champions with 257 points. There is no chance that Verstappen or Ricciardo can catch us up for that matter. Meanwhile, Daniel Ricciardo's poor race, which led to a DNF, means that Max Verstappen actually jumps back in front of him. And now it is a clear-cut fight in terms of who's going to claim second in the championship. Lewis Hamilton has solidated himself to fourth in the championship after picking up P4 in the race itself. Fernando Alonso is on 106 points with Carlos Sainz close behind. Sainz can still overtake Fernando Alonso, but it's going to take a very good result and a poor result for Alonso for that to happen. Vettel is on 77 points. Again, he could technically stay where he is, but if Norris, who's on 66 points, gets another dream podium like he has done before, obviously that can be subject to change. Brendan Hartley is on 51 points in the Jaguar, with Pascal Wehrlein on 44 in the Force India, and also Stoffel Van Dorn with 38 points for the McLaren, with Sergio Perez 23 points in the Williams Porsche. Also then we have got Nico Rosberg in the Audi there, who's on 20 points after a fabulous podium finish. He'd only scored 5 points prior to this event, and he has managed to go ahead and grab a massive haul of points today. And also, before you guys comment it, I have just realised whilst looking at this that Porsche's belt with Sergio Perez. However, I am currently away at the moment, so I can't actually change that. I literally just had everything here ready to go, and my documents are all back at home, so I can't even change them now. I'll change that for the final episode. It might have already been broken, it might have already been spelled wrong in the previous one, I don't even know, but it'll be changed. I've just spotted it now. Gasly is on 19 points. In fact, Rosberg has jumped in front of Gasly, Ocon and Charles Leclerc, and then Bottas is on a point, and Hulkenberg, Kubica and Giovinazzi yet to score. Finally then, looking at the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari still lead the way with 390 points. The gap between Ferrari and Mercedes is just 17 points. So all it takes is a race like we've had today, and obviously a race that Ferrari had today, and that can be overturned. Also, I want to just try and figure this out because there's a lot of people, or there's some that I saw in the comment section down below on the previous video that was stating that Mercedes-Benz should be top of the table. In terms of constructors' points, if you added mine and Lewis Hamilton's points, we would actually have more than Ferrari. However, you need to remember that I was at Ferrari for the start of the season, and then I moved to Mercedes-Benz. So therefore, the points aren't actually as they state, of course, because all my points that I gained at Ferrari never went towards Mercedes. So obviously, there is that switch. So if you go from the first round all the way up to the Canadian Grand Prix, that's all points going to Ferrari for what I did. So just bear that in mind. So this is the correct standings. Red Bull are on 194 points and have solidated that now. McLaren are on 104 points, look set for P4 in the championship, ahead of Audi, who are on 97 points, and Jaguar, who are on 70. Force India are on 54 points, ahead of Williams, Porsche, and then BMW, Sauber, and then Renault. But guys, that is going to be it for this episode. If you guys have enjoyed it, that'd be absolutely awesome, and feel free to drop it a like. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. And I'll be seeing you guys next time, which will be the finale of Season 2 of the F1 journey at the Belgian Grand Prix. So until then, guys, take care all. Peace.